Jaya Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Madhava Jaya Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Vijana Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dhari Vijana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radha Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jila Prabhupada Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Desi Bhaktivedanta Swami Mahaprabhupada ki, Compounded Prabhupada ki. All goes to the simple devotees, all goes to the simple devotees, all goes to Shri Shri, all goes to the simple devotees, all goes to Shri Shri, Gauranga, Gauranga, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, Krishna everybody. We'll be reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita first. And I think we are on the chapter, this part first, I think. Volume 1, yeah, and chapter entitled India Revisited, Part 1. So we'll just begin. With regular meditations, messages, rest, and the heat of Vrindavan, Prabhupada felt himself recovering. By mid-September, he declared himself 90% fit to return to the United States. He predicted that he would be back there by end of October. B.R. Sridhar Maharaj, Prabhupada's god-brother, whose ashram was in Navadip, West Bengal, wrote to invite Prabhupada to spend the month of Kartik with him at the ashram and join him for his Vyasa Puja celebration. Srila Prabhupada liked the idea of going to the holy land of Navadip, where Lord Chaitanya had spent his early years. And seeing his god-brother, he also wanted to visit Delhi again and inquire about printing his books. Swamiji, Achyutananda asked, when you go to Navadip, am I supposed to stay here in Vrindavan and study? Don't you want to see the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya? Prabhupada asked. Achyutananda did, and Prabhupada, Kirtananda, Swami, and Achyutananda left Vrindavan together and returned to Chipavada temple in Delhi. For Prabhupada's two disciples, life at Chippiwara temple was hard. Delhi was blazing hot and lacked the charm of Vrindavan. There was water for only 2 hours a day, early in the morning, and that only a slow trickle. They would fill 2 clay jugs of Prabhupada's room and several buckets of his bath and their own, and there would be no more water for the rest of the day. A mongoose ran freely through the building. Do they eat snakes? Achyutananda asked. They eat snakes, said Srila Prabhupada. They eat garbage. They eat anything. Prabhupada, who regarded the heat, the lack of water, and even the mongoose as normal, was undisturbed. Several young Indian musicians in the adjacent, adjacent room regularly played cinema music on the electric organ, bongo, drums, and electric guitars, rehearsing for a dance Prabhupada tolerated it. Sri Krishna Pandit praised Prabhupada's work in America and his English translation of Srimad Bhagavatam. As manager of the Chippiwara Radha Krishna temple and secretary of an active Hinduism society, Sri Krishna Pandit was interested in spreading Hindu Dharma, and therefore he wanted Prabhupada to speak at the nearby Gauri Sankara temple, one of Delhi's most popular Hindu temples. Prabhupada agreed to go and take with him Achyutananda. Ketananda Swami had already left for the west. The Gauri Sankar temple was on Chandi Chowk. After a short walk through some of the busiest, most congested streets of Old Delhi, Prabhupada and Achyutananda removed their shoes at the door and entered the temple. The main deity was Lord Shiva, but there were many others, Rama, Durga, Kali, Radhakrishna, Hanuman. The crowds stood before the elaborate altars, viewing and petitioning the various deities. Achyutananda had learned about demigod worship from Prabhupada at 26 Second Avenue. According to Bhagavad Gita, demigods fulfill only material desires and are therefore worshipped by the less intelligent. A Vaishnava, Prabhupada had said, respects the demigods. In fact, he respects all living beings, even the ant. But he worshipped only the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna and Vishnu. Achyutananda had already seen firsthand that impersonalists were misleading Indians to disavow the personal form of God and accept all methods of worship as equal. Most Indians had no clear understanding of Bhagavad Gita or Krishna. Achyutananda kept this in mind as Prabhupada led him in bowing down before a few of the demigods' altars. Then Prabhupada brought him before the deity of Radha Krishna. Just see, Prabhupada said, Krishna is just playing his flute. As for the demigods, someone is holding bows and arrows and someone is holding clubs. Someone is holding weapons, but Radha and Krishna are just dancing and Krishna is holding a flute. So he's the Supreme Lord. In one large room, a heaviest man with a great white beard and wearing flower garlands sat on several pillows. Many people stood staring at him. He reminded Achyutananda of Santa Claus. Swamiji, who is that? Achyutananda asked. Some yogi, Prabhupada replied indifferently. Okay. So Prabhupada Leela Mehta ki. Just want to share, like, it's funny. It's interesting that just was reading about Prabhupada going to Navadip. And because I recently visited India and that was my first time going to Navadip for Parikrama, and I was fortunate enough to go with Indradumna Maharaj. He was there, and we went on a small little group Parikrama with him in Navadip, and that was really, really nice. And so when I was reading some of the things, like first Prabhupada is going to Navadip with his disciples, and also, that Delhi was really hot, and his disciples were finding it hard. A similar thing we experienced, like Delhi weather is very extreme, very hot in summer and very cold in winter. And we were there, it was extremely cold. So even though, I grew up there, but I found it quite difficult to tolerate Delhi's weather. So it was interesting to read, like, what I've experienced and reading Nilamita. So We'll read Srimad Bhagavatam now. So today's verse is we're reading from 5th canto, and we just finished chapter chapter 1st, and now we're on chapter 2. So today's verse is 5th canto 2.1. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Visukavacha. Evam pitari sampravatte tat anusasane. So, this I think, am I reading the right meter? Evam pitari sampravatte tat anusasane vatmano agnidro jambudipavakasha praja anu aurasavad dharmavekshamana parayagopayat evam pitari sampravattita anusasane vatmano agnidro jambudipavakasha praja aurasavad dharmavekshamana parayagopayat evam pitari sampravattita anusasane vatmana agnidro jambudvipavakasha praja aurasavad dharmavekshamana parayagopayat. We'll read word translation. Srisukavacha, Srisuka Goswami said, Evam, thus, Pitari, when his father, Sampravate, took to the path of liberation, Tat Anusasane, according to his order, Vartamana, situated, Agnidra, King Agnidhra. Jambudvipa, O Kasa, the inhabitants of Jambudvip. Praja, citizens. O Rasavat, as if they were his sons. Dharma, religious principle. Avekshmana, strictly observing. Paryagopayat, completely protected. Translation in third by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Sri Sukadev Goswami continued. After his father, Maharaj Priyavrata, departed to follow the path of spiritual life by undergoing austerities, King Agnidhara completely obeyed his order. Strictly observing the principle of religion, he gave full protection to the inhabitants of Jambudvip as if they were his own begotten sons. Repeat. Following the instruction of his father, Maharaj Priyavrata, Maharaj Agnidhara rules the inhabitants of Jambudvip according to religious principles. These principles are exactly contrary to the modern principles of faithlessness. As clearly stated here, the king protected the citizens the way a father protects his begotten children. How he ruled the children is also described here. Dharma Vekshamana, strictly according to religious principles. It is the duty of the executive head of the state to see that the citizens strictly follow religious principles. The Vedic religious principles begin with Varnashram Dharma, the duties of the four Varnas and four ashramas. Dharma refers to principle given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The first principle of Dharma or religion is to observe the duties of four order as enjoined by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to people's qualities and activities, society should be divided into Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, and then again into Brahmacharis, Grihasthas, Vanaprasthas, and Sannyasis. They are religious principles, and it is the duty of the head of state to see that his citizens strictly follow them. He should not merely act officially. He should be like a father who is always a well-wisher of his son. Such a father strictly observes whether his sons are performing their duties, and sometimes he also punishes them. Just contrary to the principle mentioned here, the presidents and chief executives in the age of Kali are simply tax collectors who do not care whether religious principles are observed. Indeed, the chief executives of the present day introduce all kinds of sinful activity, especially illicit sex, intoxication, animal culling, and gambling. These sinful activities are now very prominently manifested in India. Although 100 years ago, these four principles of sinful life were strictly prohibited in the families of India, they have now been introduced into every Indian family. Therefore, they cannot follow religious principles. In contrast to the principles of the kings of old, the modern state is concerned only with propaganda for levying taxes and is no longer responsible for the spiritual welfare of the citizens. The state is now callous to religious principles. Srimad Bhagavatam predicts that in Kali Yuga, the government will be entrusted with Dasyu Dharma, which means the occupational duty of rogues and thieves. Modern heads of the state are rogues and thieves who plunder the citizens instead of giving them protection. Rogues and thieves plunder without regard of law, but in this age of Kali, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, the lawmakers themselves plunder the citizens. The next prediction to be fulfilled, which is already coming to pass, is that because of the sinful activities of the citizen and the government, rain will become increasingly scarce. Gradually, there will be complete drought and no production of food grains. People will be reduced to eating flesh and seeds. And many good, spiritually inclined people will have to forsake their homes because they will be too harassed by drought, taxation, and famine. The Krishna conscious movement is the only hope to save the world from such devastation. It is the most scientific and authorized movement for the actual welfare of the human society. Translation again. Sri Sukadev Goswami continued, after his father, Maharaj Priyavrata, departed to follow the path of spiritual life by undergoing austerities. King Agnidhara completely obeyed his order, strictly observing the principles of religion. He gave full protection to the inhabitants of Jambudeep as if they were his own begotten sons. Om Jnanatramandasa Jnanajala Shalakaya Chakshu Alnamitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sarvasadi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Wow. What a full-on purport. And Prabhupada is talking about a very, it's a big topic in our society, Varnashram Dharma. And so we'll just see, we'll cover a few things. And we'll just basically try to discuss what Prabhupada is talking about and what is the dharma of every living being. And so in this purport, in the previous chapter, in the beginning of 5th canto, Maharaj Priyavrata, he was following the instruction of his spiritual master Narad Muni, and he was practicing austerity and for many years, and he was completely detached from material life. He was very happy just performing devotional service. But then his father wanted him to come back and take care of the kingdom because there was nobody else. And but he wasn't willing to do that. And then Lord Brahma himself had to come and instruct him and ask him. Lord Brahma came and asked him to, stop his meditation and austerity and then take care of the kingdom because there was nobody else. And Lord Brahma told him that is his duty to take care of the kingdom now. And so in future, there will be somebody else, his sons, to take care of the kingdom because he's coming from a very special dynasty and Lord Brahma wanted that dynasty to carry on. And so he finally agreed to Lord Brahma's instruction because he couldn't deny them. And then he came, accepted, got married, and then took care of the kingdom. And here has been mentioned like that, how he took care of his kingdom. Like he was so kind to them that he was treating every single person in his kingdom like as his own, like a father treats his family. He's equivalent to everybody, no discrimination. And such a great king. And all the kings in Bhagavatam we read about, they're like Raja Rishi, the great, they're Raja, but at the same time the Rishi, they're ruling the kingdom not just to manipulate their citizens, but to protect them. In Vedic culture, it's all about protection, how everybody should be protected, not just a certain class or human being, everybody. So which is very important. And similarly, when Prabhupada has created this society of devotees just to protect us. So when we are in the association of devotees and we are engaged in devotional service according to our propensity, then we are protected, But as soon as we go out and we are not associating with devotees and then we'll see it takes not a long time, then you can go back in your old habits very quickly. So here in the previous chapter, when Sukadev Goswami Parikshit Maharaj heard about this from Sukdev Goswami. He was wondering, like he was struck with wonder that how Maharaj Priyavrata, he was fully detached from everything, material life and household life. But then he entered in household life, and then when he was ruling, it been mentioned that he was attached. When he was ruling his kingdom, he was also life. He got attached to his family, his kingdom, and then again at the end, when he realized his time has come, his son grown up, then he handed over the kingdom to his oldest son, Agnidhara, and then he again became detached and attained liberation. So Sukdev Goswami was wondering, like, what is going on? Like, first he was detached, then he became attached again, and then he's detached again. Like, it is like, yeah, so easy for him to become detached and then attach again and detach again. But quite often we'll see what I've experienced. Like, it's easy to become attached to something, but it is very, very hard, very, very difficult to detach yourself once you become attached to something. And a lot of the time, when people become attached to something, either addiction or whatever, position, opposite sex, sometimes they just lose their mind, you know, and they don't know what to do, like, because they're just so attached. And the reason is because they are seeing things not in reality. They're seeing things on the bodily concept of life. But Maharaj Priyavrata, he was fully self-realized soul, and he knew, even though he was engaged in his family affair, his kingdom, but he knew. He was always discussing like Krishna Katha, and he knew what the goal of life is. So if you have knowledge, then it is easy. Whatever you're doing, like either, no matter which ashrama you are in, but yeah, like you're just serving Krishna according to different stage of life, different ashrama and different responsibilities. Like we might have everybody have different responsibilities, and depending on which stage of life they are in. But if we know that ultimately our goal is to serve Krishna, and then we can do that. And also, it is easy because the Raja Rishis, like these kings, could do that because they were not thinking themselves that they are the king. They were thinking, they were like fully surrendered, and they were directly representative of Krishna, Lord. They were just taking care of the kingdom, the family on behalf of Krishna, because they knew that Krishna has given me this duty, this service, and I have to do this service according to my best ability. But in modern society, like whenever somebody has anything, any position, like even just in normal life, people can be so attached to their home, and they think, oh, it's mine. But actually, people don't know, like nothing belongs to them. Nothing belongs to anyone. Ultimately, everything belongs to Krishna. But if we think that, this thing is mine, this house is mine, like I'm running this business, I'm the boss or whatever, then we can somehow be in illusion. An example comes to my mind, like if somebody and just walks into the bank, right? It just person like just walks into the bank, and suddenly he starts shouting, "Hey everybody, I'm just here just to let everybody know that I don't want any of the money. You can keep it." This is I've renounced everything. I'm no attachment. Everything, whatever money is there, like I don't care. I don't want it. So first of all, the people will think, "Who's this guy? He's crazy. He lost his mind." Even though he might have millions of dollars in the bank, but not everything doesn't belong to him, ultimately. And when he's saying he's renouncing, if it doesn't belong to him, how can he renounce something? So like the same principle, look, these kings, they were following, they knew, even though they had like Maharaj Parikshit, they were not just ruling a small state or like city or a country, like they were just ruling the whole Earth planet. But still, and it was so easy for them to give up when the right time comes, when Brahmanas asked them to, like now it's time, your time has arrived, like you should move on in your life, and this, yeah, it was so easy. But right now is like, yeah, I mean, some of the leaders in the, yeah, in the world we see, like, even though they're like almost in their 80s and they like, they're getting really, really old, but they're still, they can't leave politics. I don't, yeah, you don't know many politicians who have just given up their position or their leadership voluntarily, and they have moved on in their life. No, they become so attached to the position that it becomes really, really difficult for them. And sometimes when they, yeah, like being voted out, then they don't know what to do. Like they literally lost their mind because, yeah. Anyways, so talking about like Varnashram Dharma, so there's quite a few places in Bhagavatam, and there are different descriptions about Varnashram Dharma is mentioned. And there's another pastime I can think of, which is really when Bhishma Pitama, Bhishma Dev, he was leaving, he was about to leave his body, and he was lying there. Then he instructed the Pandavas. Again, they went to him to inquire how to rule the kingdom. And that is the real duty of the king. Like, it's not like, as a Prabhupada mentioned here, that that the king is not manifesting any rules and regulation by himself. Oh, I like this, I don't like this, so change this. I like this particular group of people, I'll be nice to them. I don't like this set of people, so I'll be, not nice to them. So they don't manifest or manufacturing anything by themselves. They're just following dharma, vekshamana, strictly according to religious principles. And who are guiding them? Brahmanas or authorities, and like Bhishma Pitama, he's one of the Mahajans, so he's the authority in the scriptures. So they are strictly just following what has been taught to them. So they're not manifesting anything themselves. So when Pandavas, they went to see Bhishma Pitama, and they inquired like, how they can rule the kingdom, and what are the duties of the four Varna and Ashrama. Then Bhishma Pitama is guiding them, like, what age of the Varnas and Ashram people should be doing. But before that, he mentioned, he advised that there's some qualification or rules, you can say, that should be followed by everyone in the society, no matter which ashram, which Varna, or whatever you're doing in your life. But these are the principles should be followed by everybody in the society. Well, I'll just read these things out. There are 9 of them. So number 1, he said, not to become angry. Number 2, not to lie. 3, equally distribute wealth. Number 4, forgive. Number 5, to beget children only by one's legitimate wife. 6, to be pure in mind and hygienic in body. Number 7, to be inimical toward, not to be inimical toward anyone. Number 8, to be simple. Number 9, to support servants or subordinates. One cannot be called a civilized person without acquiring the above mentioned preliminary qualities. So, when we hear about these things, and these are just for civilized human beings. nothing to do with Vana and Ashrama. Like, how many people like are following and have these qualities, just these simple qualities? Everywhere we see, like, like, yeah, it's hard. You would hardly meet anybody who's not lying. Everybody's is lying too, and not to become angry. People are just so disturbed nowadays. Like, anger is just very common. People can be just for small thing, like a small conversation or argument can become into, yeah, a huge fight. And nowadays, like, I think sometimes you see, like, even people driving on road rage is becoming more and more popular. So anyways, I thought, like, this is how uh, what is the ideal civilized human being and where we are, like how in the reality what we are living right now is like such a huge, yeah, like so much contrast. So even, yeah, so he's talking about these 9 qualities for the just for everybody, and then he's talking about like Vana and Ashma, and Prabhupada has also mentioned what are the duties, and these Vanas and Ashmas, like, is a scientific system which Lord Krishna has, is not coming from, like, nobody has manifested. It's coming directly from Krishna, and it's very, as Krishna says, Chatur Varnamaya system, Guna Karma Vibhagasa. So based on the qualities and the Guna and Karma, like, then based on what are the qualities you have, based on that, if you're acting, then you will be very happy and you will feel peace. Yeah, some of us might have experienced, like, every one of us have a particular nature we have acquired based on our birth and our upbringing, and we are happy doing certain things. And some things we are not so much interested in. So, for example, like, yeah, some people, they might be happy just doing uh, like simple things, you know. This, for example, like when it comes to uh, yeah, like simple job, simple service. One example just came to my mind while my trip when I was in India. I was in Rajasthan, Udaipur. So in Rajasthan, they are still you. There's some glimpse of Varnashram Dharma in Rajasthan because their ruling class is still there. The kings are still there, and so I'll see people were like, as compared to other parts of India, like, I really like Rajasthan. I've been there a few times and, like, see how people are engaged and they're happy, and they're very, very hospitable when anybody is going. We are just happy serving other people, and they're just very satisfied, happy doing their uh, whatever work they're doing. I got to, we were looking for some paintings, for some artwork, devotional painting, and I got to have it. Yeah, I got to talk to one of the guy at the shop, and he was explaining that his family, his family is coming from, like, I think a couple of thousands years ago. Like, his forefathers were used to be the painters, or artists when the king was there. King Mahana Pratap Singh, one of the king he mentioned, and I think he said, family, everybody is artists. Even our sisters, like ladies, they're doing some sort of art at home, and he was happy. He was like, happy doing that work. They in their traditions, like their family generations, they've been doing that thing. But he mentioned, like, after the COVID, it their business has hugely affected. Like I said before, there were around somewhere 5,000 artists in Udaipur. But during COVID, it was really, really hard, and people were not investing so much in artwork and everything. So a lot of people, they have left now. They took up the different professions. There's only 1,000 left now. But still, you'll see like that sort of when we're reading, but when you actually see and meet people, it's like wow. And yeah, and the kings over there, everywhere I've been to Rajasthan, like there are a lot of palaces, and like wherever you go, you see the Krishna's paintings, all the artwork is all about Krishna, you know. And when you go into these palaces, there's all Krishna's painting. Also, all these kings, they were like devotees. And somebody was mentioning like that even like there's some, I didn't, one devotee mentioned to me here, like in some of the photos, even you see like when they have their portraits there, they'll have their bead bag. So they were like, yeah. So, and because those kings, they were taking their responsibility, their duty seriously. So the citizens were happy, even just engage in like, very similar, like very simple activity. And so the different, Prabhupada has mentioned, and there are different duties for different varnas. Like for Brahmanas, the Brahmanas, they're meant to be leading the society. They're meant to be the teacher. And they meant to also mention that as not Brahmanas, they cannot accept a salary from someone, even though they have the highest position in the society, but they were not getting paid. And for the Kshatriyas, they obviously first says to protect the citizens, and the second is mentioned to give charity. Kshatriyas, these Kshatriyas were like really, really awesome when it comes to giving charity. They would give like, so much charities to everybody, especially to Brahmanas, right? And but nowadays, the Prabhupada has mentioned is quite contrary. Like, so nowadays we see the leaders of the society, what to speak of giving charity to the Brahmanas, like they are creating all these means so they can collect more and more taxes, and they don't care about, as long as they're getting money from the taxes, and yeah, they don't care what the citizens are doing. And that's why actually nobody's happy, because the leader responsibility is to make sure, as Prabhupada has mentioned here, that they are, paying attention, that everybody's engaged according to their propensity, their skill set, and there's no like people are just doing random thing and they don't care. The real leader, the real king, should be weighed. And Prabhupada mentioned sometimes if the if the children are not following the religious principle, and they're not acting according to dharma, then he can punish them. So, but today we see everywhere in the world, like as Prabhupada mentioned in India, like, oh, I've just experienced, I went to India now after 7 years. Every time I go, it's a big shock for me. Like how fast India is changing. India, like even West somehow, as West is like, I think is not degrading so quickly than India. Because India, when I was growing up, was lucky because I think in our generation, I have seen a huge shift from like how people still had some glimpse of like all these things we read and people knew. But suddenly in 90s, especially like mid 90s, like India shifted so heavily influenced by Western society. And now it's even, I found it like it was very, very difficult to find a vegetarian restaurant. And sometimes you're out about outside Dham, And I was shocked, like went to the mall to do some shopping. Everybody only eating meat, which is a huge shock for me. Like, and people are thinking, and most of these people are there educated, like, middle class people, and but they think that's all, that's life. But but I've seen, like, when I was growing up, so if even in the relative, your family, relatives, or even community, even if one person is uh, have some addiction, drunkard or like eating meat, all your family members, your well-wishers used to tell you, hey, stay away from this person. It's not a good association for you. You know, don't hang out with this person. But now it's the other way around. You will hardly see anybody who is not doing these things. And people have taken it for granted. Even like, yeah, one of my school friend, like, childhood friend called me and like, and I just talked to him over the phone. He wanted me to come and then I didn't get a chance, but he was saying, we can go to this, we can go to this bar, we can go to this spot. I don't drink. He's like, what happened? You live overseas and like, is everything okay? I was like, yeah, everything's fine. I said, well, how come like you're young, you have money and all, why you become so serious about life? So they don't get it. So anyways, it's sad, like, in India is like, yeah, everything is changing so rapidly. But good thing is, I think if ISKCON wasn't there in India, I think India would have gone like even so far in wrong direction. ISKCON temple, all the devotees, they're doing like amazing service, and all the temples, there's so many temples being built, even Delhi, and getting huge number of crowds. So at the same time, how Kali Yuga is progressing, the devotees are also uh, taking it, they're taking their service seriously. The outreaches, like India is just, even in Mayapur, like I was just shocked the number of people come there every day. I think on a lot of them are visitors, but around 50 to 60,000 people visit Mayapur every day. It was just unbelievable, just the crowds. So yeah, it's all because of the all the hard work of the devotees. So it is good. Otherwise, it'll be even worse. Anyways, so then Kshatriyas, that's their duty, to protect the citizens. When it is mentioned that about Vaishyas, their duty is to Krishi Gorakshramani, to engage in, growing food grains, which is also now we see more and more, it's getting very, very, not many people are interested in food grains, even in India. A lot of people like who were from that class, who had farms, people are selling their land, or their children are not really interested in carry on doing those activities. Everybody wants to move on and wants to, a lot of people, yeah, they just want to get into like technology and everything. And in the 12th canto, we have heard like symptoms of Kali Yuga has been described that as we move forward, like when the Bhagavatam is mentioned, that there will be a time it will become really, really difficult even to buy a bag of rice. Even if you go to a store, with cash, like bag full of cash, you wouldn't be able to buy a bag of rice because nobody's interested in doing that activity. So and then people will be forced to eat, So, and the Vaishyas, apart from taking care of the, food grains and like growing food and vegetables, another their dharma is to protect the animals. So like how Kshatriyas, they're protecting human beings, they're protecting everybody. Their job is to make sure that everybody is protected, not just human beings, animals also. But Vaishyas, they particularly take in charge of like the animals, especially cows, and they try to increase the production of milk and ghee and butter and everything. And Shudras, it's funny. I still like it's a bit find that point a bit hard to understand, but it's been mentioned. Shudras are not meant to accumulate wealth, right? They just should be fully dependent on the three societies, and if they are fully engaged in their profession and they're they're dependent, all their basic necessities of life will be fulfilled. But think about like this in modern society, if you don't have money or if you don't have, people will take advantage of you. And, if you don't have any independence. But actually the reason why they shouldn't accumulate wealth, because they're simple people. And if somebody, and they don't have that much knowledge, those other three classes, they have, well educated in the scriptures, which Shudras are not. And Prabhupada mentioned if the people who don't have knowledge and they get money, then eventually they will spend their money in sinful activities, and then it will not neither beneficial for them, neither for society. So, but yeah, so like Kshatriyas, they're meant to give charities, so they're giving charities to everybody, especially to Brahmanas. And like how Shudras are not, they're not meant to accumulate wealth. Same principles Brahmanas also follow. So when they receive so much charities, we read in Krishna book also, when Maharaj, how much charities he was giving. But whatever is, they keep only whatever they require, and the rest they give it to the society again. So everybody is taken care of. So how we were saying like Vedic culture is all about protecting everybody, so all the classes of society being protected, and yeah, everybody is happy and satisfied. And yeah, and if they're doing that, then they can be peaceful and they can engage in devotional service. And I think these are some of the points I wanted to mention. Varnashram Dharma is quite a big topic, but these simple, we all know, like these are some simple basic duties of different varnas and ashram. And in our society, that's still a work in progress, at the moment. But when you go to Mayapur, recently visited, you see there are some devotees who are living according to the Varnashram Dharma, and it's amazing. They just, you can see that Mayapur whole society is like, and that's why Prabhupada has mentioned somewhere in Bhagavatam that there will be a time that all the other, there's modern civilization, it will collapse and people will take shelter in Mayapur. All the different people around the world, especially devotees, will run towards Mayapur to take shelter. Because what we'll do if we have a lot of money but we don't have food grain, and yeah, and if we are not, everybody's not protected like how Vaishyas, they're protecting animals. So, but at the moment we know, just a couple of months ago, Spiritual Master David Maharaj mentioned like how many millions of animals been killed in USA every hour or every second, was like huge number. So, but there's no protection for the animals, and and that is the reason that we are suffering a lot, because yeah, if there's no protection for animal, what to speak of human being? There's like animals, the human beings are not feeling protected. Like in New Zealand, is even it's a beautiful country. Like I feel very fortunate to live here, but this crime is just increasing so, fast. And all the people, like all the Russia community business people, they are like crying for years, but yeah, there's no solution. And that is all happening because the particular classes, men, especially uh, Shudras, they got a lot of money, or they don't have, then they're trying to steal it. And because they don't have no knowledge, and they're doing all these things and creating a big disturbance in the society. So, yeah, I think ultimately, Krishna consciousness is the only solution to all the worldly problems. And I had this realization like I think several years ago when I was in ashram, and I mentioned it to one of my friends. Hey, I think I've got this realization that any problem we have, either individually, like collectively or different levels, Krishna consciousness is the only solution. And he replied, "Oh, really? What do you mean?" He didn't get it, but I tried to explain it to him. But I think still he didn't, because he was some of the things he was saying like, "But if you don't work, don't have money, But if you think all the problems, I think, because all the problems mainly start from yourself, individual problem, then it becomes a family, on family level, then society level, and then national level, then international level. So if we somehow try to become Krishna conscious and we try to help others to become Krishna conscious, then all the problems in the society can be resolved. Yeah, are there financial problems? What else? Like pollution, what are the other problems we have in the society? Political problem, war, yeah. Either it's on society level, national level, international level. No? Employment, yeah. Because, yeah, since there's no equality. Like some people are earning a crazy amount of money, and there's some people are struggling. Just at the moment in New Zealand, some of you might be aware, some not. There's a huge restructure going on. There are a lot of people have lost their job, and I was just read somewhere that last year, out of a lot of people, especially in the big positions, like lost their job. A lot of CEOs in government organization, and one of the CEO, like he was the highest paid. I don't remember which organization he was with, but he was getting paid 800,000 or something. And then when they were going through the restructure, and that organization, they asked him if he's willing to cut down his salary, maybe half or something, But he said no, and he left. Imagine, that's a huge amount of money, and where some people are just struggling, and yeah, and people who have that money then have no inclination towards giving charity, and yeah. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. That's the whole mantra, and that's the solution. Just keep chanting and keep praying. Hare Krishna. I'll just finish here, Prabhu. Thank you for listening and just letting me share some of my thoughts. If anybody, because there are a lot of things in here. I only, cover like not even 1%, but if anybody have some ideas or something want to share, please. No? Okay. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki.